And now, Deborah Kobylt live.
Hi, everyone, and thanks for joining us on Deborah Kobylt Live today. And, as part of Mental Health Awareness Month, we're talking to a very talented gentleman who has quite a story to tell. Um, and it's Dylan García. Dylan, thank you so much for being here. I'm thrilled to have you.
Thank you for having me. Much appreciated. Thank you.
Yeah, no, you're in a studio there, right? Where are you? Where are you calling me from?
I'm in Coachella Valley at a recording studio called Chateau Relaxo,
Hmm.
here in the middle of the desert, surrounded by palm trees. And the it's my producer's Ronnie King's recording studio out here.
Wow. And you're living the life, right? It hasn't always been that easy, though, right?
No, no, no. Life. I mean, life is still difficult, but there was difficult times in the past as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm happy for you and I'm proud of you. You've really come through some tough times. Let's start a little bit by talking about let's go back to 2009. We were working with some of the top musicians and you were really, at the top of your game, but you really were having some struggles, right? Mentally. And that's when you thought, gosh, I got to do something. Could you take us back to then?
Yeah. You know, Back at that time, I was living in kind of a delusional state. And but the thing is about the illness, it doesn't you don't know. You don't know. You just think that's your reality. So it's hard to conceive between what's real and just in your mind and what's real like in front of you.
Right.
And I was working in the studio, and I was in a mental health. I was in a crisis at that time, and nobody knew. I didn't talk to anybody about it. It was just something that I just felt like that's just how life was. And fortunately, I was able to record 3 songs in that session, and it still blows my mind. And I had a conversation with the producer that worked with me recently because he heard one of my interviews and he had no clue. He was like, "I can't believe you were going through all that while we were in the studio and you didn't even tell anybody." But I
When
think
you
that's
say
go
when you say
ahead.
going through all that, you were saying that you were feeling delusional, you just weren't feeling yourself yet at all. Yet you knew that you had to show up at the studio and work, right? That's nearly impossible to do. You pulled it off, but gosh, what were some of the symptoms that you were having at the time?
I was going through a lot of
Mhm.
paranoia about things, a lot of highs and lows, with
Mm.
and not just like right in the middle, like really excessive highs, excessive lows. And it's something that I had been dealing with, a large part of my life. It just didn't really come to fruition until I got older. And, thankfully enough that all that happened because I want to see that situation of what I was going through. I want to see that as a positive because I finally was able to get the help that I needed, and
Right.
it's painful
I,
that I had to go that far, but at the same time, it was a blessing because I finally figured out what was going on that I've been dealing with for so many years.
right, and you were institutionalized, right? You were at a hospital because initially they didn't even diagnose you correctly, but ultimately they diagnosed you with bipolar. Is that correct?
Yes, I was diagnosed with bipolar. Every doctor had a different scenario. I would go into the thing is that I would go into such detail of what I went through in those times and explained it to the doctors that a lot of them were just blown away. Like, I can't even believe that this guy remembers everything that he went through. And he's kind of a hero,
Mm.
and to be able to share my story with people on a larger platform just like yourself. It's truly such a blessing because I know there's that one person that needs to hear the story.
Oh, absolutely. Tell me a little bit about what finally got you. Was it medicine that sort of got you to feeling okay that you could work again? Because at that time you were working with some pretty top musicians, right? Could you tell us first of all some of the musicians that you had been working with? It's extraordinary.
Yeah, so out in Orange County, we were working at a recording studio called California Sound Studios. I had the opportunity to work with my record producer Ronnie King, I'm out at his studio now, but I met him. I was working at the same recording studio as David Ellisiri, or he goes by David Electric, from Steel Pulse. We were all working at the studio. It was like a little hub of all these really hot artists that were in Orange County at the time, and you know, it just amazes me that still to this day that I was able to get to where I'm at, to still be able to have these, that my mental illness didn't ruin these relationships at the same time. You know, that's
You
all
had
a blessing.
you had said that you felt paranoid. Obviously you must have been taking drugs to sort of, make yourself feel better. Like, what were you doing to sort of soothe yourself?
Well, it all began with the doctor that I had met in 2018, and he just put it to me. He said, you know what? You can't solely depend on the medication. It's you have to have a total lifestyle change. You know, you
Mm.
got to exercise, and I'm not just talking about walking. I'm talking about really pushing yourself, working your heart out. And he also taught me about the Wim Hof method, a breathing method, also to calm myself down when I was having anxiety. And I took all that to heart because the pivotal point in my life where it's like, okay, do I just play the victim card and just accept it and not do anything, and that's just all my life is going to be? Or this doctor's telling me I can take back control of my life. I think I'm going to go ahead and take back control of my life and make something of myself while I'm here on this earth.
I love that. You are a fighter, Dylan. You are a fighter. Tell me a little bit about that breathing exercise, because guess what? We could all use it, right? I really believe a breathing technique can stop you in your tracks and sort of, you pause for a moment and then you sort of continue, right? Could you tell me
Yeah.
a little more about that? I'd love to for people to hear what you do when you're doing your breathing exercises.
My doctor told me it was the ultimate reset of the brain. So what you do is you
Yeah.
take 10 deep breaths through your
Hmm.
mouth or your nose, and then you exhale, hold your breath for 30 seconds, as long as you can. And then from there, after the 30 seconds, you exhale and you're good.
It works, people.
Yeah.
Anybody listening, doesn't it instantly not just calm you down, but if you were feeling anxious and out of control, and let me be clear, we've all been there, that really helps. It works for me. I learned breathing exercises and it works better than anything.
Yeah.
Um, do you practice that daily, your
When
breathing?
I think you know what I did? I practiced it daily for about 6 months.
Ah.
And I think the body got so accustomed to it that a lot of that tension that was going on inside me was just kind of felt like each time I did it was slowly releasing a lot of that heaviness that I had on myself, you know. And it's a game changer. I'm telling you, if you're willing to put in the work, you want to take the advice from professionals. Um, you know, for it, take your medication, listen to your doctors, do your best to find the best doctor that you can, and just be honest with them. And this is what I did with my doctors. I said, look, I need to be the best me at all times. So remember that when you're taking care of me, I need to be the best me because my life matters. And with that, just being open with doctors that way as well was a big transformation, because it also gives the doctor the feeling where, wow, this guy actually cares.
You know what, Dylan, though you're very self-aware. A lot of people are not as self-aware as you are. You knew that you weren't quite right and you just didn't know how to get there. And I love how determined you were. You're a talented artist, and you were so determined to just say, you know what, this is not my life. This is not my life. We're going to figure it out and we're going to do it together. That is so important. If anyone can take anything from your story, to say, this isn't your life, people. Keep going until you find the solution, the right doctor, the right cocktail of a prescribed medicine, and also behavioral change. I love that you said you had to make behavioral changes. Um, at your absolute worst, you said you were paranoid, right? What else was going on? Was your temper out of control? I mean, what was going on?
No, not so much like that. I'll tell you this honestly, it's a lot of fear. I, it's
Ah,
it, it's a lot of fear because you're paranoid about things that are going to happen. But it was going through those moments where some of the most fearful times of my life, because you're in this state of mind, and you don't know if the boogeyman is really out there to get you. You don't know because you're in that state of mind, and it's something really scary to deal with. And
mm,
for me, it wasn't like I was out of control or being violent or anything like that. I was more fearful of anything.
right. And you knew that it was just off. What do you want to tell us now that you're working on? You've had some very successful singles, right, this past year. Would you tell us about that? And then also about your music video that just came out. And I love the name and the shout out to another incredible musician. So let's start with the singles, then let's talk about the music video.
Yeah, so in 2020, I had made the decision because it was, we were in the pandemic was really full on. I made the decision to focus on these different projects of songs, and I ended up releasing, 4 singles with "Won't Back Down" included, and they just kind of took off. I figured, during the pandemic, everyone's going to be listening to music. Everyone was home. Everyone's glued to their phones. Everyone's got an ear pod, an earbud in, listening to something. And I figured, I'm going to go ahead and take advantage of the situation and share some positive songs like "It's a Beautiful Day," "Hermoso Dia," "Summer Love," and especially "Won't Back Down." I wanted to let people know, like, we're going to get through this. We're going to get through this. And the music video for "Won't Back Down," we released it on Cesar Chavez Day. It features iconic Latino heroes in our culture, such as Cesar Chavez himself, Sonia Sotomayor, Dolores Huerta, Isai Morales, Lin-Manuel Miranda. We had such awesome footage, and I just wanted to showcase that song for my people, mi gente, and to uplift them and to show that we're hard workers. And we're here to make positive changes in our society as well. And I wanted just to make that statement because I feel like Latinos are left out a lot of the time. So that was that video.
Yeah, and look what you're doing to make sure that doesn't happen. You just lifted me up, I have to tell you. Just hearing about your music, because I can feel the passion coming from you right through our Zoom screen. Honest to God, Dylan, I feel it. I think it's beautiful. And you've got a statement there with your music, and also a little bit of respect there for Tom Petty and his song.
Yeah.
But I love the title, which really speaks to you, right? You won't back down, Dylan. You're not going to back down. So for other people out there struggling, I mean, you're sort of now the face, if you will, for Mental Health Awareness Month, or one of them at least. What do you want to tell them? Don't back down. Get out there.
Don't back down. Some people could be at the point where all they need to hear is just everything's going to be okay. I think that's just the major message that I want to put across, is that everything's going to be okay, and never give up. We only have one chance to do it while we're here on this earth. Why not take control of your life and be the best person that you can be?
Yeah. And I also want to say, what's very important is for people to reach out for that help, because and don't back down until you get it, because sometimes it does take you on a journey and you might not get the right help initially, but if you stick with it, right, we will. So I really appreciate you joining us. Anything you'd like to say to your audience and my audience?
I want to say to you guys, stay tuned. There's a lot more coming. There's a lot going on this month for Mental Health Awareness Month. I know we all went through a pandemic. If you feel a little off, say something about it. Say something about it. Don't just hold it into it where it gets to a point where it's out of control. Say something about it. And I got some new music coming up. That's why I'm here in the studio. I'm working with Ronnie King. And Ronnie King is a multi-platinum Grammy-nominated record producer, Diamond certified. I'm working with him right now. And I'm also working with another multi-platinum record producer, one of the founders, the founder of Chicano rap music. I'm working with both of them out here in the desert.
That's outstanding. I would say your story has come full circle, without a doubt. Dylan García, how can we find your work? How can we listen to it? How can we see the video? All that.
So on social media, you can go to Dylan García Music, at Dylan García Music, and DylanGarciamusic.com. DylanGarciamusic.com. There's link to all my social media, to my music on Spotify. My music videos are right on that page. It's just one simple place to go where you can find.
I'm just thrilled to have talked to you. I really am. Now I can let you get back to work. That's a beautiful studio that you're working from, by the way. It looks like a lot of fun. I love recording studios. There's just so much energy in there. I love being around the artists. I love seeing how, artists put their music together. I don't have that talent, but I love being around it and just to witness what y'all do. So, and I know you're one of the best. I know there's a lot ahead for you. So, thank you for speaking out. Thank you so much. Dylan García. Now you know how to find his work and reach out to Dylan if you have any questions as well. I'm just thrilled to have you join us. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
And thanks everybody for tuning in today for Deborah Kobylt Live. I wanted to tell Dylan's story because he's part of Mental Health Awareness Month. And I think we all struggle in one way. We know people who are struggling, and there's a lot of people who need help. All we have to do is look around our neighborhoods and we can see that pretty clearly wherever we are. So let's all be part of that solution and make something happen. Don't back down. Thanks again for joining us. YouTube, you could find us, Facebook, and all audio podcast platforms. Deborah Kobylt Live. Thanks, Dylan García. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.